When my mother was 29 years old, my daddy was in his early 30s. Mother had an automobile accident that paralyzed her from the waist down, and it totally changed all of our lives. My dad had to become just about everything, the provider and taking care of us, and he took really great care of my mother. And as I grew older, I got married and had two boys. And when we were a little bit older, my dad and I, we had a major conflict, and it was so bad that we didn't speak to each other for a year and a half. So it separated the entire family for that time. And one day, my son saw his granddaddy out in the yard. Dad lives across the road from me, and he wanted to see his granddaddy. And so we took my son, Gordon III, to the edge of the road and let him cross the road and go and see my dad. And the visit went very well, and it really started us on the road to recovery, and our family started getting back together and fellowshipping like we used to do. And sometime later, the Lord dealt with me about apologizing and asking my dad for forgiveness. And I'm thinking, Lord, he's the one that should be apologizing. But every time I would pray, the Lord would speak to my heart and say, you need to make things right with your dad and ask for forgiveness. So I did. I went over and saw Dad and told him, I said, Dad, we need to talk. And he said, well, let's talk. I said, no, Dad, we need to talk alone. So we went in his room and shut the door. And I asked him, I said, Dad, would you forgive me for some of the attitudes and things that I have shown against you? And he looked at me and he said, yes, son, will you forgive me? I was totally shocked. I had never heard my dad say, I'm sorry, in my life. And so that was just a wonderful time for me where we both asked for forgiveness. And that was the road to total recovery for me and my dad. And it started the family fellowshipping like we should, and Christmases and Thanksgiving and so forth like that. And it also opened up a time that I could talk to my dad about the Lord. Well, the Lord did so much more than I thought that he would do, because we've never had this close a relationship in our life. And so I'm closer with my dad now than I've ever been in my life. And he's totally changed. I mean, he encourages our grandchildren to live for the Lord, and he's a different man. And he believes in forgiveness. He talks about it all the time. So I just thank the Lord for what he did in that relationship. And it just proves to you the power of forgiveness. You know, one day when Dad's gone, I won't have to say, I wish I'd have said this, I wish I'd have told you that. We've said it all. We have peace with one another, and you can't put a price on that.